The arrival of a batch of 600,000 AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccines at the Kotoka International Airport in Accra on Wednesday may have signified hope for millions of Guineans, especially for the over 6,000 active carriers of the dreaded coronavirus. According to the Minister-designate for Information, Kojo Ponkruma, COVID-19 vaccinations will be conducted in phases among segmented populations. He said the first segment of the population that will receive from the 600,000 doses will be health workers, adults 60 years and over, people with underlying health conditions, frontline executive, legislature, judiciary and their related staff, frontline security personnel, some religious leaders, essential workers, teachers and other personalities in Greater Accra Metro, including Ewutu-Senya and Ewutu-Senya East in the central region. A similar segmented population in the Greater Kumasi Metro and Obuasi Municipality will also be covered. From 2nd March 2021, the COVID-19 vaccines will be deployed in health facilities and designated centers in these geographical regions, according to the Information Minister. With the imminent rollout of the vaccination program, NET2 TV News sought the views of a cross-section of the public on whether or not they will take part in the vaccination program when it commences.
Yes, definitely. If I have the opportunity, I'll definitely take it. Because the vaccine, all of us know, is to just boost our immune system against the coronavirus. So I think it's even a very good opportunity for me to be given the vaccine, because at least I'll know that I have something that is protecting me against this deadly virus. So I think it's good for me. Anytime I'm called upon to take it, I'll gladly accept it.
Edruba bia amanfo bi ekoka asem bia ebechichira amanfo adwen efa sapane no minjindi se obi befa ekwan boni bi akase obeku ne manfo Ghana eye nyina ye dia Ghana eye me no nyina dia yare yi ba ye mohu nso ho a ye nyina ya wuram ene wontimi nsori nko ejom enko kasa wo kwa kodidwa obo wa obi a adwane Uye unhuti se uhonfa wa ufiefo kura obi ampese obeben wo ena wo hwe yare ya abayi unana bi wu ana umami bi wu a unya fununu no hu enkanka ye kramofo obitimi ka baabi ni pefunu de na abafie ni abompa ya amano a yesi covid-19 ti yenya ye kwa kosie ufunu se dia ompe ni tintini ni tietia ne se yankopon cha de ya nya eduru yi nti me ka kire mo se me a megina wo yi me ene me maame ne me papa ne mebusuafo nyina ene me yere Mariam ye kwa kowo sapane ewe ye be kwa kowo I wish enka menya opportunity na maye one of the earlier people ombewo se de be ya Ghanafo nyina be hu se eye very important se obewo sapane.
We don't know how effective it will be to save our lives, and I'm not sure I'll be able to. And then in this mpacho me
vaccine no em say e dia e wo se obia Ghana ni bia enwo, because president ankasa omampanya ankasa say obewo oni na busuafo ina wo na ye ya e da akiri na ye say yenwo, because e wa edwin hu say e bia bibi beyan sanka nye bibia ebeboa anka onu na o first gentleman of the land no anka wonwo e na wo hwe owiasi nyina mpemfo nyina ewo enti me pre yen nuanom any Ghana for say munya opportunity ha monko
anyan memewo say banko amewo, because ye share measles ne yare bebe abayi ehu eba ye wo hu panie usan ye be wo measles panie eno na nchen so wutie wo ya wo fe dro adenti na wutie wo ya wo nkase no so nyame be ya ma akọ nyame na impacted wisdom ni no, so impacted wisdom na say yare aba e wo se the same wisdom no ema yare no ehu edura ye benya eba na fe ye de asaye ho yare enti mesre wo bibiara se onkonko wo sa kwanya ne da ho mana onkonko wo ehu behia so obia bewo na enku obia wo Yesu di mu
pane ne de menya sure se mewo. We don't know the usefulness of that Because yenam han session intiade ne be wopane.
Meanwhile, the general public has been assured of the safety and efficacy of the vaccine. The assurance was given by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji.
Vaccine is a very, very important step. It helps us build our own immunity to fight the disease, and so to reduce the spread and also reduce the severe disease. We want to see this, people to see the civic responsibility that you vaccinate yourself, protect yourself, and protect your neighbor. And I think that's very, very crucial that everybody who gets the opportunity to vaccinate take the advantage of this important. Countries that have done it have seen significant reduction in their cases. In Israel, say that for the people who have been vaccinated there, the spread has reduced by about 94% among that group, and I think it is something that we must take it for. Secondly, we can see that there have been so many millions of people in the world have been vaccinated, and nobody has reported any severe adverse reaction. And so people should take put their hope in that and ensure that this is a very safe and effective strategy that is being applied.
At least 2 people were killed as supporters of the losing candidates in Niger's presidential elections-led violent protest in the capital Niamey, Interior Minister Al-Kash Al-Hada said on Thursday. The opposition candidate Mohamed Usman has deemed the elections fraudulent after the Electoral Commission announced the ruling party candidate Mohamed Bazoum's win. Al-Hada told reporters that 2 people were dead, adding that police arrested 468 protesters since Tuesday. He accused the opposition figure Hama Amadou of inciting the violence. Usman supporters have marched since Tuesday, throwing rocks at police who fired tear gas to disperse them. Some protesters set buildings on fire. Mohamed Usman was the first democratically elected president in Niger. He served from 1993 until a military coup toppled him in 1996. He has since tried to regain power 5 times. Niger edged towards its first ever democratic transition of power as former Interior Minister Mohamed Bazoum won the presidential elections with 55.75% of the second round votes, according to initial results published on Tuesday. Opposition candidate Mohamed Usman picked up 44.25%, the country's election commission said. The results will now need to be approved by Niger's constitutional court. An observer mission from the Economic Community of West African States contended Usman's claim, saying that the elections were held under free, fair, credible and transparent conditions. On Sunday, people cast the ballot for Niger's first ever democratic transition of power. 7 members of the National Electoral Commission were killed on the same day after their car hit an explosive device. The country struggles with jihadist insurgencies from its southeast neighbor Nigeria and Mali in the west. Extremists attacked 2 villages near Niger's border with Mali, killing more than 100 people in January. Niger is listed as the world's poorest nation on the UN's development rankings for 189 countries. The West African country has had 4 coups since its independence from France in 1960.
3 more ministers designate on Thursday faced the Appointments Committee in Parliament to be vetted by the 26-member committee. The 3, namely Dr. Ibrahim Mohamed Awal, the Minister-Designate for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Madam Frida Prempe, the Minister of State-Designate for Works and Housing, and Youth and Sports Minister-Designate, Mustafa Yusuf, have been nominated by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and in accordance with the Constitution have to be approved by Parliament. Dr. Ibrahim Mohamed Awal, who was a minister for the erstwhile Ministry of Business Development, promised to accelerate the development of the Marine Drive project, which he describes as very important and a game-changer for Ghana. He said when given the nod, he will look at the details of the plan and engage the business community on the project. Dr. Awal also pledged to embark on aggressive promotion of both domestic and international tourism for the development of the country.
Marketing and promotions are very, very important in achievement of goals of my festivals. We want to have a comprehensive calendar, market and comprehensive program, work out with the chiefs, interaction authorities, and ensure that when they are well marketed within and outside Ghana, we'll have patronage. We also have to work with sponsorship. I think one of the key problems we have is our sponsorship. So as a marketing communications person, I want to assure you that we're going to have a program that will help market and promote our festivals for local and international patronage that can give us the jobs that we require. The process has begun, and I'm given a note by this committee, but I can assure the House that I'm going to look into it and make sure that the needful is done. We cannot wait any longer. So if I want to ensure the House that I'll take the necessary steps to ensure that we activate it and make sure that it goes very well according to the schedule. Aqua hotels are supposed to be luxury hotels to encourage domestic tourism. I think it's a very important concept and idea, and I would want to follow up and ensure that it's done. At least one in each region. When I'm given the nod by this Honorable House, we intend to increase tourism visitation from 1.1 million visitors, which has been the highest, to an average of 1.5 to 2 million visitation every year. We want tourism as important to be one contributor to our GDP. The GTA has already started working on tourist facilities. We have 29 museums and forts in this country, and with 29 forts and castles and 8 museums in this country. The GTA has started a program to rehabilitate all those forts and castles, to bring them to speed. We're also trying to look at the tourist receptive facilities around all those places to make them attractive. When given the nod, Mr. Chairman, we will again look at them and package them properly. Ghana has some of the best tourist facilities in the world. We need to package them, bring them up to speed, and then use the media, both local and international media, to sell those facilities.
Madam Frida Prempeh, the Minister of State designate for Works and Housing, for her part, advocated a budget for housing in the national efforts to roll out adequate and affordable housing. She said such a budget was necessary to fund housing projects which required intensive capital. Madam Prempeh, who was also an immediate past Deputy Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, said if approved, she would ensure the Housing Ministry collaborated with ministries such as Local Government and Rural Development, as well as traditional leaders to secure lands for the development of affordable housing.
If you really want to bridge the housing deficit gap, it should be all hands on deck. And we have to start from somewhere. We should be looking at the short, medium, and long-term issues. In the very short term, we'll be looking at the rent-to-own scheme. I believe that is the way to go now. Because when you meet the average person on the streets, what he or she tells you that I'm looking for an accommodation, he will not tell you I'm looking for an accommodation to buy, but they're rather looking for accommodation to rent. But because there's so much monopoly in the area of renting with the landlords, it's quite difficult and cumbersome for people to have access to affordable rental, and let alone rent-to-own scheme. That's why the President, in his vision for the second term, intends to roll out a rent scheme that will support especially young graduates who have just come out of school to be able to, source funding from the rent scheme to be able to pay for their rent. So one of my priorities as a Minister of State at the Ministry of Works and Housing to be to assist the Minister to roll out the rent-to-own scheme. Then we can be looking at the affordable housing project where through mortgage financing, people can source money to look for some of these units to buy. We are hoping that if approved, would work on the National Housing Authority and the Housing Fund and see how best we can also raise resources to support the housing industry. Because you've been there before, and you agree with me that the housing industry is a very capital-intensive area. So you need a lot of funding, you need a lot of resources to pump into it, and you need land as well. And one other thing that also came to mind is the cost of building materials. It adds up to the cost of overruns on affordable housing. So if you're able to work on our local building materials and also work on how we can bring down the cost of building materials in the country, I believe it will go a long way to help us to bridge the housing deficit gap, because as it stands now, it's quite alarming.
Youth and Sports Minister Designate Mustafa Yusuf, taking his stand, said government will take advantage of the 2023 African Games to establish a university for sports development in Ghana. He said a university would help uplift the image of sports by training athletes and sports personalities such as referees in the country. He further disclosed that plans are far advanced to revive the sports college in Winneba.
The country had the opportunity in 2018 to host the African Games come 2023. His Excellency the President has since inaugurated the local organizing committee. And the local organizing committee, as part of my preparation towards this August House, I've met them for briefings. They have started setting up subcommittees to look at how human capital development, because the idea is that we don't just want to host the African Cup of Nations without winning medals. So we have, apart from that, they are also setting up a subcommittee to look at the infrastructure development. We are going to put up, given the opportunity, an Olympic village. And the Olympic village will come with facilities which, after the Games, will be served as a university for sports development. So, Mr. Chairman, yes, we are very focused. Government is committed to host the best ever African Games in the country. It is going to be an entirely new facility that we are going to put up for the Games. But after the Games, we have to utilize the facilities. And the government policy is that we will turn the facility into a university for sports development. And the idea is that the whole of West Africa, we have no such university. What we have currently is a college, university college, a college in Winneba. But we want to use this opportunity that we have gotten as a country to set up a university which will be the second in the whole of Africa.